The group stage comes to an end, and with it, we have some lovely storylines like FC København making it to the round of 16 for just the second time in their history, or Real Sociedad conceding just 2 goals thus far during their campaign. And then there's United and Ten Hag's delusions of what can be considered a great performance. Ay, Ten Hag. Anyway, of course we'll get to that, but first, hello, I'm Adrian and welcome to our recap of all things Champions League. Speaking of which, I'll be hosting a Champions League Power Rankings live stream today at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for Bleacher Report, or BR Football, as you may know them as, live within the Bleacher Report app. So if you want to join me, I'll see you in there. Love to have you. Let's start with the fun story here, the positive one. A team that nobody expected to do anything in this group, myself included there. Shame on me, by the way. Has only gone and managed to advance ahead of both Galatasaray and Manchester United. FC København deserve all of the love for what they've done in this group, as they were never, ever the easy win that many people expected them to be. Jakob Nistrup ensured that no team would have an easy time facing København, and they didn't, did they? København concluded their group stage with a win over Galatasaray, which in turn meant that no matter what United did, they wouldn't be advancing, and København finished with a record of 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. Those losses coming at the hands of United and Bayern, neither of which were a blowout. Speaking of United and Bayern, let's get into this one as it just gets worse and worse for United these days. As I just mentioned, the writing was on the wall for them already. If there was a winner in the Galatasaray versus København match, no matter who won, then there was zero possibility of United moving on, even if they beat Bayern 20-0. But they didn't beat them 20-0, did they? In failing to get a result against Bayern at home, they crashed out of Europe completely. Perhaps that's a blessing in disguise for them, because financial impact of crashing out of the competition aside, United look like a team who could use less time on the road and more time on the training pitch. No patterns of play, no distinct style or approach to their game, sometimes even an unwillingness to run. It's just a shit show out there. That is, if you ask me at least, as Erik Ten Hag was quite happy with how that Bayern Munich loss went. Ten Hag said, and I quote, "We had some good performances, but we made mistakes, individual errors from players. In the end, it's not good enough, but I think today the performance was very good, and we didn't deserve to lose." Very good? Performance was very good? Performance of who? The ball boy who handed Neuer the ball after another shot was sent skyward? I mean, I have no idea. It's one thing to keep morale up and not throw your players under the bus when they're in a moment of difficulty, but it's another entirely to call that a good performance, a very good one. Bayern dominated possession, shots, expected goals. I mean, you name it, effort levels, everything. But apparently that's very good now. Now, I feel for Ten Hag in so much as United have a long list of injuries at the moment, but that doesn't excuse delusion. It's okay to acknowledge a poor performance. You aren't fooling anyone when you say it was a good one, and you aren't being negative in acknowledging it was poor, so long as you provide words of encouragement or a promise to work harder in the future, something along those lines. But anyways, if you guys have seen in my video where I was one of the few people that has actually defended Jadon Sancho in the Sancho versus Ten Hag debacle, then you'll know what I think of Ten Hag and how he has a lot of work to do when it comes to his man management and handling of the media. No secret how I feel about him in that regard. But anyway, for the first time ever, United with 4 defeats in the group stage. They surrendered 8 points from winning positions this campaign. They were the first English side in UCL history to concede 15 goals in the group stage. And there is no advantage to playing at home for them anymore, which is wild. For so long, Old Trafford was a fortress. Even Mourinho in the post-Sir Alex era had some great runs at home before it soured. But at home this season, United have lost no less than 7 matches. It's truly astounding stuff. Mind-boggling, really, but like I said, with less travel, maybe things will improve domestically. Let me be clear, I still believe in Ten Hag as a manager, as far as when it comes to tactically. I can't look past what he did at Ajax and just say, oh yeah, he was just lucky then, because we've seen what's happened to Ajax since he left. But man, when it comes to the things that he says to the media and the way he handles some players, I just don't understand the guy. So Bayern finished top, FC København behind them, Galatasaray dropped to the Europa League, where they will be a very difficult side, and United are chilling at home midweek from now on, and they'll probably be relieved by that. Pretty standard in Group B, honestly, at least between Arsenal and PSV, who were seemingly happy to just play for the draw once PSV had leveled. Nice goal, by the way. Well, you guys may know I love a bar down finish. Someone who absolutely thwacks it in off of the bar. I also accept strikes that bank in off of the post. So shout out Vertessen for that one. And extra points for it hugging the goal line after hitting the post as it went in. This lovely stuff, lovely stuff. You want those acute angles as it goes in off the post. As for Arsenal, their goal came from Eddie Nketiah, Steady Eddie, the perfect squad player, the perfect guy to fill in when you need him to, while not providing a horrendous drop in quality. He can still bag a few goals now and then. RC Lens did their part in order to advance, but given PSV just needed a single point to get into the next round, defeating Sevilla in Lens was a bit of a dead rubber. Nice 96th minute winner though for a bit of drama. It looked for a moment like Sevilla would go on to find a winner and get back into the Europa League once again after Sergio Ramos converted from the spot to equalize, but it wasn't to be. Arsenal finished top, PSV second, RC Lens dropped to Europa, and Sevilla dead last. Union Berlin versus Real Madrid was meaningless in some respects for Real Madrid, as they were guaranteed to finish top no matter what else happened in their group, while Union Berlin knew that a win against Real coupled with a Braga loss would see them jump into the Europa League. Well, it was a back and forth affair with Real Madrid, a roller coaster of emotions, which I guess kind of mimics how Union Berlin supporters have felt in general this season, except they were on the big climb of the roller coaster over the last 3 years, and this season they went plummeting down the other side of the roller coaster. However, with their new manager, things are definitely looking better for them. Sure, they lost 3-2, but they have lost fewer matches recently, and hell, even defeated Gladbach recently. Some beautiful moments in this one as Madrid's penalty was saved, Modric's penalty, only for Union to go and score one themselves at the other end. They fall behind 2-1 with a brace from Joselu, then tie it up in the 85th minute, only for Dani Ceballos to win it for Real Madrid 3-2, a roller coaster, like I said. As for Napoli, they knew that a draw was enough to advance in their match at home against Braga. This came at an interesting time for Napoli, as we are still in the early days of Mazzarri at Napoli version 2. Well, you could call it version 3 if you count his early days as an assistant to Olivieri in the 90s. That's right, I'm watching Napoli closely because I'll be going to a Napoli match later this month. Napoli versus Monza. Can't wait, man. Anyway, Braga were a very good team in the Champions League and that they were unlucky to be drawn into this group with Napoli and Real Madrid, and perhaps could have done some damage with some better draw luck. In the end, they had the same record as Benfica, which didn't look likely after the first few matches from Benfica, but they fell off a bit results-wise despite being fighters to the end. 2-0 Napoli in this one as Victor Osimhen scoring his first goal since October 8th. Real Madrid top, Napoli in second. Watch out for Braga in the Europa League. They're not going to be an easy draw for anybody. Well, somehow, some way, the aforementioned Benfica managed to find some form and defeat RB Salzburg. Yes, the team that started the campaign with a loss against them at home, which started a terrible downward spiral of 4 consecutive losses. Away to Salzburg, Benfica needed to win by 2 goals in order for us to jump over Salzburg in the standings, and we did so with a goal from Artur Cabral, of all people, late in the match. Cabral has been, maybe disaster is too strong of a word, but he hasn't been good on the pitch, nor off of it, as he flipped off some Benfica supporters recently. Nice one, dude. Anyway, Benfica win 3-1, and if Rafa knew how to finish, he would have had 3 or 4 goals in this one. Some of the chances he missed, I mean, just look at these, man. On both occasions, with the goal at his mercy, he struck it directly at the keeper. Anyway, I'm hopeful that this win will help to turn Benfica's form around because we were dreadful last weekend again, and hopefully Cabral will start scoring goals, even though I think Tankstead offers far more all around, more of a complete attacker than Cabral is. But hey, as long as someone's scoring, I'm happy. Real Sociedad had a penalty shout late against Inter, but those two sides deserve to finish odds even once again, as there wasn't much between them in this group. Well, there was a few goals that separated them, actually, as Real Sociedad conceded just twice in this group. 2 goals conceded in 6 matches. Fantastic stuff from Sociedad. Inter, they also have looked very good again this season. Benfica just slips ahead of Salzburg into the Europa League. As we said a couple of weeks ago, when it comes to Group E, it was already sorted, man. Everyone could have just taken the night off, and nothing would have changed in the standings. But Atletico did indeed defeat Lazio at the Metropolitano 2-0 on the night. I was a little surprised to see that Simeone didn't rotate the starting 11 a little more, but when you consider pot placements, it makes sense. Wanted to secure first place, and they did so with goals from Antoine Griezmann and my boy, Samuel Lino. Leno actually set up Griezmann's goal as well early in that match, so there's that. That man is playing well right now, as I spoke of in the monthly recap. In the other match, it was nice to see Celtic supporters catch some happiness. They knew this was the end of their European adventure for the season, as they had last place all locked up. That's a funny way of putting it. Ain't nobody taking last from us. We got this. Anyway, they beat Feyenoord 2-1 after some late drama. Jakuba Minte equalized for Feyenoord in the 82nd minute, but that last little bit of European joy that I mentioned came to Celtic thanks to substitute Gustav Lagerbielke, who was completely unmarked at the back post in the 91st minute, and I probably completely butchered his name. Atletico in first place, Lazio through in second, Feyenoord to the Europa League, and Celtic will focus on extending their lead in the Premiership. Dortmund versus PSG, Newcastle versus Milan. It was all to play for. Whew. Let's start with the former. My favorite play of this match between Dortmund and PSG, the unbelievable sliding kick save that Niklas Süle made on Kylian Mbappe after the Frenchman had rounded Kobel and had the goal at his mercy. Maybe it would have been brought back for offside had it gone in, but we don't need to acknowledge that. Give Süle his flowers. He deserves it for that one. But anyway, Borussia Dortmund took the lead in the second half after Füllkrug squared to Adeyemi, and he picked out the corner. Adeyemi will only score in the Champions League this season, my friend. That's where he reserves all of his form for. From there, it all became very, very stretched. You had Mbappe as a constant threat. You had various moments in which Borussia Dortmund's back line completely lost their shape. You had big saves from both Kobel and Donnarumma. There was that pass from Gio Reyna to Marco Reus, and with what would have been a 3 versus 1 situation in the left side of the box, the German scuffed his touch. They could have killed it there, but it ended 1-1. But what was happening in the other match was very important to this group. Newcastle United were away against AC Milan, playing at the San Siro, and with a win over the Italians, they could have booked their place in the next round so long as PSG didn't win. However, neither of those things happened. Well, PSG didn't win, actually, as you know. That match was 1-1, but Newcastle also didn't win. They fell 2-1 to AC Milan. Not my favorite match on the night, though it had some moments that were fun, but both sides are completely, absolutely depleted with the amount of injuries that both of them are carrying. Joelinton with the opener for Newcastle, while AC Milan equalized through Pulisic. Then in the second half, Chukwueze scored a great goal, opening up his body and smacking it into that far corner. 2-1 Milan, which meant that they actually jumped over Newcastle in the standings, so they will drop into the Europa League, while Newcastle are out. Honestly, not bad for their first showing in about 2 decades when we're talking about Newcastle here. That win over PSG was one of the more fun matches in this group. Dortmund are top, PSG in second, but equal on points with Milan. It was a very close group. This group was also already set. My beef with this group continues. But Manchester City got an impressive win as they fielded a bunch of children and still beat Red Star. There were some adults out there as well to supervise the kids, such as Jack Grealish, debatably an adult. I'm joking. He's good fun. People take him way too seriously. Leave him alone. Stones was out there, Kovacic, Akanji, but no Scott Carson. Shameful from Guardiola. Let the man play. His air miles collection far outweighs that of his minutes. That's for sure. Man is jet-setting across Europe without playing football. Anyway, a couple of kids managed to score, such as Oscar Bob and Micah Hamilton. What a way to mark your Champions League debut for Hamilton. He also won a penalty later that Calvin Phillips converted. Yes, I said Calvin Phillips. He has been spotted. 3-2 City. And with Leipzig defeating Young Boys, here are the standings, which have been unchanged for what feels like an eternity. Hey, I mean, maybe Young Boys and Red Star swapped places a couple of times. I can't remember, but yeah, there it is. We had some wild results in Group H. First of all, Tottenham legend Vincent Janssen. Remember him? He managed to score against FC Barcelona, as did his young and exciting teammate Arthur Vermeeren, who we mentioned a few weeks, maybe a few months ago, actually. Watch out for him. And I know what you're thinking, Adrian. What do you mean? Antwerp, the worst team in this Champions League, managed to score twice against Barcelona? In fact, you probably aren't thinking that because, I mean, you can see on the screen that they actually scored thrice against Barcelona, which I did not see coming. But perhaps I should have, as Barca have been a bit crap lately, haven't they? I'll have a video on them soon, my friends. Anyway, Barca thought they were safe and sound when in the 91st minute, Marc Guiwi made it 2-2, but quite literally 1 minute later, Antwerp got the winner. Antwerp and late winners, man. Not as iconic as Alderweireld's title winner from last season, but still a cool way for them to finish their campaign. 3-2 Antwerp. In the other match, FC Porto were up against Shakhtar in a match that was simple. If there is to be a winner, then the winner of said match moves on, while the loser will go to Europa League. As expected though, Porto playing at home, they'll get it done, and they did. Wenderson opened things up, then Shakhtar scored a strange goal that got people's pulses up. Porto were pissed about that one, only for Galeno, that's Wenderson by the way, to make it 2-1 at the half. In the end, it was 5-3 Porto, not a defensive masterclass by either side with 8 goals in this one, but hey, we like to watch goals now and then, right? Also, another shout out to Pepe, who broke his own record to become an even older version of himself, an oldest man to score in the Champions League. Hell yeah. So Barcelona barely hanging on to first place, Porto in second, Shakhtar to Europa, and Antwerp, we salute you fellas. What a way to die, an honorable way to go out. And that's all, everyone. The Champions League draw will be on Monday, December 18th, incredibly early in the morning, actually. 6 a.m. for me on the east coast of North America, so anyone on the west coast, unless your sleeping schedule is fried, you won't see it until you wake up. Other than that, merci for watching, tout le monde. Subscribe if you're new, drop a like so that the algorithm will give this video a little kiss, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!